100% my sister was a victim. 100% victim. I'm holding victim paperwork. Victim. My little sister would have called her brother. No matter what. If she chose to do whatever, she'd have called me first.
Here's what they want you to believe. Dewanda Dagen woke up at 2 a.m., went through her man's phone, found out he was cheating, and gave her HIV, so she shot him dead and then herself. Clean narrative, right? Woman scorned, case closed. Except her brother walked out with official paperwork that says she was a victim of homicide, not a murderer, a victim. So now we've got to ask, if she didn't kill herself, who did, and why does everyone want us to believe she did? You already know what we do at Shadow Crimes TV. We break stuff down, so let's get into it right away. Let me tell you something about Dewanda Dagen. This wasn't some woman struggling to get by, desperate and broken. 38 years old, working for the CTA, pulling in $47 an hour. You hear me? 47 an hour. She owned multiple properties, not renting, owning, and she'd just become a grandmother. A whole new chapter of her life was starting. The photos show a beautiful woman, confident, the kind of woman who knew her worth. People on the internet kept talking about how she looked, but they weren't seeing the full picture. This was a woman who had her life together, a woman who, according to everyone who knew her, was close to her family, real close. Her brother, and we're gonna talk a lot about him, because he's the one fighting for truth right now. He made it clear Dewanda didn't make moves without calling him first. That was their relationship. She needed to handle something serious. She called her brother. She was going through something. She called her brother. So when people started saying she snapped at 2 in the morning and did the unthinkable, he knew something wasn't right. Now Noon Thurman, 44 years old. That's the man they found next to Dewanda that night. The man the internet decided was a cheater, a liar. Someone who'd given his girlfriend a death sentence with a disease. But here's the thing, we don't actually know what Noon was about. We know what social media said. We know what the rumors claimed. But facts, those are still coming. What we do know is that on October 3rd, their story ended in blood. It's just after 2:30 in the morning when Chicago police get the call, 6600 block of South Normal Avenue in Inglewood. When officers arrive at the residence, they're walking into what looks like a nightmare. Inside the home, they find two bodies, a 38-year-old woman and a 44-year-old man, both shot in the head, both pronounced dead at the scene. A weapon is recovered right there in the house. The police start piecing together a timeline. They're combing through the residence, looking for evidence, trying to figure out what happened in those final hours. And pretty quickly, the initial assessment comes down. Murder-suicide. That's when the internet does what the internet does best. It starts filling in the blanks. Stories start spreading fast. Someone posts on Facebook, imagine being in a relationship for 5 years, giving this man everything, then going through his phone and finding out he's got a whole other life you didn't know about. And then here's the part that really got people talking. You find out he's got full-blown AIDS and now you've got it too. Girl, the comment sections went crazy. People were saying Dewanda woke up at 2 a.m., grabbed his phone while he was sleeping, saw messages from other women, and just lost it. They said she found out about the HIV, realized her life was over, and decided if she was going down, he was going down first. The narrative painted her as a woman in a jealous rage, betrayed, sick, hopeless, someone who saw no way out except violence. But anyways, let's pause right here because this is where things get complicated. The scene told one story. 2 people, 2 bullets to the head, 1 gun. In cases like this, investigators look at the evidence. Who fired the weapon? What's the trajectory of the bullets? Are there signs of a struggle? Defensive wounds? Anything that doesn't fit the murder-suicide theory? And here's what made people believe the social media version so quickly. It seemed to make sense, right? Woman finds out devastating news in the middle of the night. Emotions running high, access to a weapon, and tragedy unfolds before the sun comes up. But let me tell you something. Dewanda's family wasn't buying it. Not for 1 second. While the internet was busy convicting her, calling her crazy, saying she couldn't handle the truth about her man, her brother was preparing to fight back because he knew his sister. And the woman being described in those viral posts, that wasn't her. See, this is where we've got to be real careful. The story that went viral, the phone, the cheating, the HIV diagnosis, none of that has been confirmed by police. Let me say that again. None of that is official. It's speculation. It's internet detectives doing what they do. And yeah, sometimes they're right, but sometimes they're dead wrong. Chicago Police Department labels the deaths as a murder-suicide under investigation. They're working the case, running forensics, looking at phone records, talking to anyone who might know what happened that night. But here's what we know they found. The weapon at the scene, 2 victims with fatal gunshot wounds to the head, and a whole lot of questions. What we don't know, and this is critical, is whether there's any actual evidence of the HIV story. We don't know if police recovered Noon's phone showing other women. We don't know if there are medical records confirming either of them had the virus. The internet ran with that narrative, but the police, they haven't confirmed any of it. And this is where Dewanda's brother steps into the picture in a major way. Days after his sister's death, he goes live on Facebook, and let me tell you, this man is hurting. You can see it, you can hear it in his voice. He's just had to do one of the hardest things anyone can do, identify his baby sister's body. He's holding papers in his hand, and he's telling anyone who will listen.
100% my sister was a victim. 100% victim. I'm holding victim paperwork. Victim.
Now make it make sense. If this was a murder-suicide where Dewanda killed Noon and then herself, why does her brother have paperwork listing her as a victim of homicide? He keeps repeating it.
I'm here right now. I just had to do one of the hardest things in my motherfucking life. Roll right here.
The emotion is raw. This man is fighting against a narrative that's already spread across the internet like wildfire. People have already made up their minds about what his sister did, but he's saying no, you've got it wrong. All of you.
I ain't respond to no false narratives. I ain't say nothing. I let them post, make videos, and right now today, guess what I get? To both families, we took an L. But that shit y'all put out there, oh, she looked in his phone and she snapped and he went out the coward way. My sister was too raw. Why would she kill herself to make the envious people of her happy? She too raw for that. I can only be strong. Because I had to shake my head and nod my head and say, that's my sister. That's her.
Yes,
everybody that know me personally know the only reason I'm mad. But I can't, it is what it is.
We good though.
And then he drops something that makes you really think.
That they were saying, I hear crickets. I'm gonna miss my baby so much. But so much weight lifted off me right now. I'm still numb, I'm still in. But that right there just made me feel better. I can go hug my mama. She sent me. She said, I can't do it, son. I can't do it. They forced me to do the craziest, hardest shit of my life. I lost a homie in front of me. His brother became her best friend. That boy broke me down. I ain't mad no more.
The brother's live video hits different when you really listen to it. This isn't some rehearsed statement. This is a man who just came from identifying his sister's body, holding official documents, and trying to process the fact that while he's drowning in grief, the whole internet has already decided his sister was a killer. Both of them were victims, he says, and you can hear the exhaustion mixed with anger. We took it in, but that narrative they put out there.
Oh, she looked in his phone, and she snapped.
He went out to Calgary. He's shaking his head. My sister was too strong. Why would she kill herself to make the envious people of her happy? She's too strong for that. Let's break down what he's saying here. He's not just defending his sister's character, he's pointing out something deeper. Dewanda had haters, people who were jealous of what she had built. The homes, the job, the lifestyle, and in his mind, taking her own life would be giving those people exactly what they wanted. And his sister, she wasn't about to do that. He mentions that she just became a grandmother, a brand new chapter. Why would someone on the verge of that kind of joy throw it all away? Over a cheating man? Over a phone full of messages? It doesn't track. But here's where it gets real murky, and this is what makes this case so hard to pin down. The brother believes his sister was murdered. The paperwork he's holding apparently lists her as a victim, but the initial police reports and the evidence at the scene pointed to murder-suicide. So what's the truth? Look, in cases like this, the details matter. The forensics matter. Where was the gun found? What's the gunshot residue analysis? What angle were the shots fired from? These are questions that investigators have to answer before we know what really went down. The brother keeps emphasizing one point: she would have called me first. No matter what, she was going to call her brother. And he's right to bring that up. When someone is at their breaking point, when they're about to do something irreversible, there are usually signs, calls, messages, goodbyes. Did Dewanda reach out to anyone that night? Did she send any texts, leave any notes, or was she asleep when this happened? That's the question nobody's asking, but everybody should be thinking about. The social media story says she woke up at 2 a.m. and went through Noon's phone. But what if that's not what happened at all? What if someone else was awake at 2 a.m.? Here's the thing, there haven't been any arrests in this case, because according to the initial investigation, there's nobody to arrest, both people involved are dead, but the brothers' claims raise serious questions. If Dewanda truly was a victim of homicide, then who killed her? And who killed Noon? The most obvious answer, if we're following the brothers' theory, would be that Noon killed Dewanda and then himself. That flips the whole script. Instead of a jealous woman taking revenge, it becomes a man silencing his girlfriend. Maybe because she found out something she wasn't supposed to know. Maybe because of an argument that escalated. Maybe for reasons we'll never fully understand. But there's another possibility that's even darker. What if neither of them pulled the trigger? What if someone else was in that house? Now, I'm not saying that's what happened. The police recovered one weapon at the scene, and there's been no indication of a third party being involved. But in the interest of getting to the truth, we have to look at all angles. The brother said something in his video that stuck with me. They forced me to do the craziest, hardest thing of my life. He's talking about identifying Dewanda's body, and then he says she still looked good. Still killing it. He didn't hurt that pretty face. Pause. He didn't hurt that pretty face. He's saying he, meaning Noon. Is that just a figure of speech, or is the brother telling us something? Is he saying Noon is responsible for his sister's death? As of right now, there's been no trial, no courtroom drama, no lawyers arguing over evidence. This case sits in that difficult space where the official record says one thing, but the family is fighting for a different narrative. And here's what makes it even more complicated. The HIV story. Girl, let me tell you, that rumor spread faster than anything else. People on social media were claiming that Noon had full-blown AIDS, that he'd passed it to Dewanda, and that's what pushed her over the edge. But where's the proof? Where are the medical records? Where's the confirmation from anyone official? Because right now that's just internet talk. And internet talk can destroy reputations, ruin legacies, and paint completely false pictures of what actually happened. The brother addressed this too. He's frustrated because people are running with stories that have no basis in fact. They're making his sister out to be reckless, emotional, unstable. And he's saying, no, you didn't know her. You don't get to write her story. Let's lay out the facts we can confirm. October 3rd, around 2:30 a.m., police respond to a residence in Englewood. Dewanda Dagen, 38, and Noon Thurman, 44, are found dead from gunshot wounds to the head. A weapon is recovered at the scene. Initial police assessment: murder-suicide. Dewanda's brother has paperwork listing her as a victim. No arrests have been made. The case remains under investigation. Now here's what we don't know: whether the HIV story is true or just internet speculation, whether Dewanda actually went through Noon's phone that night, whether there's evidence of infidelity, the exact timeline of events inside that house, who fired the fatal shots, whether there was a struggle, if Dewanda left any kind of note or message. See, that's a lot of unknowns. And when you've got that many gaps, people fill them in with whatever narrative makes sense to them. Some people see a woman scorned. Some people see a controlling, dangerous man. Some people see a tragedy that could have been prevented. But what does the evidence actually show? That's what investigators are working to determine. And until they release more information, we're all just guessing. The brother mentioned that people who were quick to post about Dewanda have gone quiet now that he's spoken up. I hear crickets, he said, and that's real, because it's easy to share a story when it's scandalous and messy. It's harder to admit you might have gotten it wrong. Moving on to something the brother said that really captures the pain of this whole situation. I lost a homie, an animal. He's talking about Noon, because apparently Noon's brother and Dewanda were close. They were friends. This wasn't just a couple, this was families intertwined. And now both families are grieving. Both families are trying to make sense of what happened. His brother became her best friend, the brother says. So imagine that loss. You lose your sister and you lose someone you considered a friend, all in one night. And then you've got to watch the world tear your sister apart online while you're trying to bury her with dignity. The response to this case shows you everything about how we process tragedy in the age of social media. Within hours of the news breaking, people had made up their minds. They had the motive, the method, the whole story figured out. Cheating man gives his woman HIV. She finds out, she kills him, then herself. Case closed. Share, like, comment. But hey, what if that's not what happened? What if we all just participated in destroying a dead woman's reputation based on rumors? The brother is out here fighting for his sister's name. He's saying she was a victim. He's saying the narrative is false, and he's got paperwork to back it up. So at the very least, we owe it to Dewanda to wait for the facts. There are so many pieces of this puzzle that don't fit together yet. And until the Chicago Police Department releases more details, we're stuck in this space between two completely different versions of the same night. Version 1, Dewanda discovers betrayal and disease, snaps in the early morning hours, and commits an act of violence before taking her own life. A crime of passion. A woman pushed past her breaking point. Version 2, Dewanda is the victim of a homicide. Someone took her life. Whether it was Noon in a murder-suicide, where he was the aggressor, or whether something else entirely happened that night. She didn't kill herself. She was killed. The brother keeps bringing up her success, her stability, her future, and those details matter. This wasn't a woman with nothing to lose. She had property, she had income, she had a grandchild she was excited about. People keep saying, well, finding out about HIV would make anyone lose it. And okay, maybe, but we don't even know if that part is true. Let me tell you something. Diseases like HIV aren't the automatic death sentence they used to be. Magic Johnson has been living with it since 1991, and he's thriving. Medical advances mean people with HIV can live long, full lives. So even if Dewanda had found out she was positive, would that really be enough to make her throw away everything she'd built? Her brother doesn't think so. And here's another thing that doesn't sit right. The timing, 2:30 in the morning. Police get called to the scene. By the time they arrive, both people are already gone. So what happened in the hours before that? Was there an argument? Was there a confrontation? Or were they both asleep when this went down? The gun, where exactly was it found? Was it in Dewanda's hand, near her body, across the room? These details matter because they tell investigators whether the scene was staged or authentic. Gunshot residue. Was it on Dewanda's hands? Was it on Noon's? Both? Neither. That's science. That's evidence that doesn't lie. Forensics can tell you the distance a gun was fired from. They can tell you the angle of entry. They can tell you whether someone was standing, sitting, or lying down when they were shot. All of that builds a picture of what really happened, and we're waiting on that picture. Because right now all we've got is a brother holding victim paperwork and a whole internet full of theories. The family's fight. What struck me most about the brother's video wasn't just the grief, it was the urgency. He needed people to know right then, right there, that his sister wasn't what they were saying she was. Make sure they post this. Post this, he kept saying, because when it was the other narrative, when people were calling his sister a killer, it spread everywhere. But now that he's got evidence showing she was a victim, crickets. He talked about having to be strong for his mama, for his nephews, for the rest of the family, because while he's out here defending Dewanda's name, his mother is at home trying to process that her daughter is gone. His nephews are trying to understand why their aunt isn't coming back. I just had to do one of the hardest things in my life, he said, and you could hear it. You could feel it. Going to identify your sister's body isn't something you ever prepare for, and then having to come out and fight against a false narrative on top of that grief, that's a different kind of pain. He mentioned that Dewanda's house, her property, everything she worked for, it all had her name on it. She built that, and now people want to remember her as someone who destroyed it all in a moment of rage. He's not having it. Y'all ain't ready to deal with a boss woman, or you going to be insecure and all kind of nonsense, he said. And that's directed at the people who want to paint successful black women as unstable, as emotional, as unable to handle adversity. Dewanda was a boss. She handled her business, and the brother wants that to be her legacy, not the twisted story social media created. Dewanda Dagen was 38 years old. She worked hard, owned property, and had just stepped into a new role as a grandmother. That's who she was when she woke up on October 2nd. By the early morning hours of October 3rd, she was gone. The legacy she leaves behind shouldn't be defined by rumors and speculation. It should be defined by the life she built, the people who loved her, and the truth of what happened that night, whatever that truth turns out to be. Her brother is making sure of that. He's out here with victim paperwork, with memories of who his sister really was, and with a determination to clear her name. That's love. That's family. This case reminds us that in the rush to make sense of tragedy, we often create narratives that comfort us more than they honor the dead. We want clear villains and victims. We want simple explanations for complicated situations. But real life is messier than that. As this investigation continues, as more details emerge, we'll be here to share them with you. Because every victim deserves to have their story told. The real story, not the one that trends on social media. This is Shadowed Crimes TV. The Dewanda Dagen case is still developing, and as detectives uncover more evidence, we'll be right here bringing you updates. For now, I leave you with the full clip of the live video from Dewanda's brother.
Man, y'all know goddamn well I was coming. I was coming. Hey, y'all look. Get with me. Get with me. 100% my sister was a victim. 100% victim. I'm holding victim paperwork. Victim. My little sister would have called her brother. No matter what. If she chose to do whatever, she'd have called me first. I'm here right now. I just had to do one of the hardest things in my motherfucking life.
Roll right here.
I ain't respond to no false narratives. I ain't say nothing. I let them post, make videos, and right now today, guess what I get? To both families, we took an L. But that shit y'all put out there, oh, she looked in his phone and she snapped and he went out the coward way. My sister was too raw. Why would she kill herself to make the envious people of her happy? She too raw for that. I can only be strong. Because I had to shake my head and nod my head and say, that's my sister. That's her. Everybody that know me personally know the only reason I'm mad. But I can't, it is what it is.
We good though.
But,
clear that up.
Can y'all please keep my family in y'all prayers? But more so my mama, my sisters, my nephew.
We here right now. We got all
I'm straight.
Everything.
I did what?
She ain't did, shot, or did nothing.
Victim.
She was the victim.
Bro. Look at this shit, bro. This shit say.
Survivors.
Victim.
Victim. She was the victim.
Victim. Where my damn thing is so I can flip the bitch.
Flip it.
Oh, I'm good. Victim. 100% victim.
Victim.
Not suicide, murder,
Just had to
suicide, all that.
baby.
I had to identify my baby. She can't call her brother. They took that shit. Make sure they post this. Post this. Cause when it was on y'all to say it was us, it was cool. It was cool. And I'm still not mad. I'm mad because I can't do shit. And she still look good. Still of us. He didn't hurt that pretty face. See what I'm saying? I can't even cry no more. I'm happy. I'm so motherfucking happy. Y'all know where I'm gonna be at. Pull up. We at Address. You know what? Matter of fact, you know what? We gonna cook. We gonna be at my sister's house. See what I'm saying? Like
her house.
Her house.
Her house.
With her name on it and everything all that shit that they was saying. I hear crickets. I'm gonna miss my baby so much. But so much weight lifted off me right now. I'm still numb, I'm still in. But that right there just made me feel better. I can go hug my mama. She sent me. She say I can't do it, son. I can't do it. They forced me to do the craziest, hardest shit of my life. I lost a homie in front of me. His brother became her best friend. That boy broke me down. I ain't mad no more. This is why I ain't respond. I couldn't. So make sure everybody post. Look, why they can't post? Tell them to post this. Tell them what's going on. Post it. I got victim, 100% victim. Fellas, y'all ain't ready to deal with no boss bitch and you gonna be insecure and all kind of shit. Let that lady be. Don't be no tender dick. And I know we all did tender dick shit. I did some. But not this. I love every that put all 5,000 of y'all that pulled up on me. Just for me. Love y'all. Don't stop pulling up. I need it.
Hey,
But this
son, this Karen.
is different.
Hey, I'm gonna see you talking.
It's different.
Right now.
They say
Left the,
she found out she had AIDS and snap.